For more on what should be done about AIG and whether legally any of it can be done, let's turn now to Jonathan Turley, professor of constitutional law at George Washington University. Good evening, John.
Hi, Keith.
The congressional proposal to tax the money, Howard just said maybe 91%. Tax it back from the AIG executives. And how can you legally target a tax upon the employees of just one company, or even if you've broadened it out a little bit and say just the companies that got the bailout money?
I've been speaking to a few people in Congress today about this, and I am very skeptical. It is one thing to try to take this out of the hide of AIG, the company, to essentially recoup it out of their coffers. But to get this money back from the individuals, I would suggest that would be much more difficult. There are constitutional questions, including bills of attainder and other things, when you go after individuals. It's very hard to make this cat walk backwards. And I think part of the anger here really shouldn't be directed at AIG. We all knew what AIG was. The anger legitimately can be directed at Congress and both parties. I mean, you have these members going around expressing complete shock. But, you know, when you give billions and billions of dollars to the pirates of Penzance, you can hardly be surprised that they spend it on women and grog. I mean, that's basically what happened here. You've got a bunch of executives that ran a major company into the ground by showing utter greed and incompetence, and you gave them all this money with very few restrictions. I mean, this money, hundreds of billions of dollars, were given to incompetent people with less restriction than I give my kids when I send them off to school. I say, you can take the money, you can't spend it on candy, you can't spend it on this or that. But it appears that if you let a company fail, you get very few restrictions. And in fact, an amendment was put through that protected the bonuses of executives that were brought in before the last stimulus package. I believe Senator Dodd helped put that in.
Well, now that we've got the D'Oyly Carte Society hyperventilating, to turn to the modern Major General of your analogy, the former CEO, Hank Greenberg, opened a special office in London to insure the banks and their risky loans as a way to make quick money. This man was saying today, quote, "I wouldn't pay the bonuses, period. If they want to sue us, sue us." Would there be a reason not to make the AIG executives sue to get their bonuses?
Well, one is that you could very well lose if it's a contractual issue. I have some question about fraud here. I mean, these contracts seem to have been written in haste when the company could not possibly have honored them short of a bailout. The bonuses paid by Merrill Lynch also raised very significant questions of that company pushing through bonuses earlier than usual, and it seems like they were trying to get them under the wire. And I think there are some really serious questions here. But look, you can refuse it and force it to go to court, but these people have an upper hand. You gave them that upper hand by giving them money without the necessary and most obvious restrictions.
But maybe this is not so much a legal question, although it works into this. Why are contracts with AIG executives, white-collar guys, considered sacrosanct, and those with union workers not so much, when we've heard nothing but breaking union contracts in Detroit as a prerequisite to bailing out the auto industry, and yet we seem to have nobody even thinking, well, just, screw the brokers the way you wanted to screw the auto workers?
Well, I think it's a legitimate question. We have a tremendous political failure here, and I think that you can see it in real social unrest. I think Congress has finally pushed this country to the breaking point. People believe, and I think there's some support for it, that there's no rational hand in any of this, that people aren't making basic decisions. And I think that we should pursue getting this money back, but you may have a better chance getting it from AIG than these new millionaires who may be scot-free.
Jonathan Turley of George Washington University, as always, we thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks, Keith.